Hi, it's Jay from Iridescent Tarot, back with some more sparkle for you. So today I wanted to film a top 10 decks of 2025, and I've had so much fun filming the VRs to different end of year tags and holiday tags, but I really just wanted to make a focused video on the top 10 decks of this year. And the way that I chose these decks are kind of an amalgamation of the following. Some of these decks are just the ones that I've used the most this year. Other decks are ones that came out this year and I feel like are notable mentions. And some are decks that didn't come out this year, but I got them myself this year. And so they've seen a lot of use this year specifically. So if you're interested in seeing what my top 10 decks of 2025 are, then you're in for a treat. No top anything list of mine would be complete without mentioning my two ride or die decks, Playful Heart Tarot and Majestic Earth Tarot. Year after year, this deck for me just shows up and reads solidly and predictably and playfully, and it just is everything that I want in a tarot deck. And I've professed my love for this deck many a times on my channel, but I would be remiss to not mention it on a top decks of 2025 list. And it comes tied in 5th place for my tarot decks with Majestic Earth Tarot, because to me, the two of these are the culmination of my practice. Like they are the two decks that I go to the most when I would like to read without questioning whether the decks that I'm going to use are going to work for a specific spread, without thinking too hard about whether or not like I'm going to enjoy my reading. Like these two, they are my practice. And so they tie in 5th spot for me for my top tarot decks of 2025. Next up is the Yellow House Tarot. This deck saw the most use in the summertime when it first arrived, and I feel like it's definitely a spring summer vibe to me. So it's kind of been in hibernation since maybe the beginning of fall, but I can really speak to how beautifully that it did read for me in its peak season. This was the beginning of my realization that like the fewer people in my decks, the more that I like them. And there's just no other deck in my collection that does what this deck does and focus on the inside of a home. And Heidi's beautiful home that she's depicted is just such a joy to look at in this deck, and I love it so much. So to me, this is one of the best releases of 2025. Similarly, Folkloric Forest was released in 2025, and this deck, it reads beautifully. It is exceedingly honest and blunt, but it does so without beating me over the head with it, but it is exceptionally honest. I've sung its praises many a time, specifically the beautiful production quality, the super intelligent curated art choices, and just the beauty of this deck in general. It has that similar curated art deck vibe to Majestic Earth, but almost like a zoomed in version where you get to really see what's happening in the scenery of Majestic Earth in my brain. I couldn't be more excited to see where the rest of the series goes. Lennox Reese is creating multiple other decks in the anthology to go with this deck, and I'm just very excited to see those other decks too. In the 2nd spot here, we have Scarab and Dalia Tarot. This deck was not released this year, but was a deck that I added to my collection in the fall. And there are just so many things that I love about this deck. I love the color choices. I love the background choices. I love all the different collage elements that Joanna had chosen for this deck. I love the super beautiful gilding. I love the backs. I love the little Scarab and Dalia on there. I think that out of all the different collage decks that I have tried, this one just does something different with the backgrounds being very landscapey and just telling a beautiful story. This is one of my favorite cards. I just love this deck, and this was pretty much what I read with alongside with Folkloric Forest in the fall time. All right, I know I'm breaking my own rules here with the numbers, but my number one spot for top decks of 2025 go to the Future Ancestor Tarot and the Lilifer Tarot. So similarly to my fifth category, which was a tie between Playful Heart and Majestic Earth, these two came into my collection at the same time, and they both stood out from the rest for different reasons. Since our deck connectors episode, I have edged this deck in like a grayish green and then added silver sparkles on top. I think that it really complements the deck, and I'm super happy with how it came out. This deck is just so emotionally present and great at holding space. And I don't know how I've gone this long without this deck in my collection. During the deck connectors episode, I had said that this deck feels to me like if you had taken Playful Heart Tarot and you sent it on a silent meditation retreat, it came back like Future Ancestor Tarot. Like, it's just quiet, contemplative, present, understanding, peaceful. It's got that hug deck energy, but it's just very much grounded, and I don't know. I'm just shocked at how deeply I connected with this deck over the course of Deck Connectors week and thereafter. I haven't put it down. With Lilifer Tarot, the second that I pulled this deck out of the box, I was like, oh, we're gonna be best friends. Like, there's just something about Marianne Constantine's artwork that cuts right to the heart of my emotions. And I should have known with how much that I love Reclaim that I would just love the Lilifer Tarot, but I didn't buy it until towards the end of this year, and it like immediately rose to the top of my ranks. It was very surprising to me, the speed and the depth of how much I felt like connected to this deck. And there's so many things that I love about it. I love the artwork. Now that I have it in hand, I enjoy the color palette more than I thought I would. The backs, some of the best backs of all time. The cardstock, it's super thin and flexible, but sturdy. The gold detailing, like, it makes me so happy. I have been following Marianne's progress on her new Oracle deck, and I can't wait. That has my name written all over it. So excited to see what else she puts out in the future. Now for Oracle decks. My next choice is Narrative Alchemy Tarot, which technically has tarot associations on it, but it has these keywords that allow this deck to function more as an oracle, and so I do use this both ways. I am, however, for the purposes of this video, considering it to be an oracle deck, because sometimes I do just like to pull this deck out, look at the keyword, and really ignore the tarot associations, because the keywords are really potent. And Chrissy Bentley, the creator of this deck, has a really great vocabulary, and the guidebook that you can purchase separately on Lulu, this is an NPC deck, and the guidebook is so well written, and the fact that it's in her handwriting just makes it even more special. But I have just gone to this deck so many times and trusted it enough to be vulnerable in its presence, and it's been a great deck to have in my toolbox. Reclaim Oracle. We all knew this was going to be here. This deck set the bar for how oracles can function so critically in my collection, and have made me rethink why I'm keeping other decks when they don't do as good of work, for lack of a better word, as this deck. So while this has like a very specific job to do in my collection, and I don't go to it super frequently because it's just so intense sometimes, when I do need it, there's nothing else that can replace it. So this is my number 4 oracle, Prairie Majesty Oracle. I don't think that I would have really gone for this had I not seen Tarot Magpie's Mind Mapping the Tarot video, and seeing how Sylvie explained all the different uses and ways that this deck can be implemented in practice really just convinced me that it would be a valuable addition. And that was spot on. This deck to me is more of a workhorse than something that I super like enjoy, I guess. I don't know how to explain it well. It's just like another one that's really great at its job and got a ton of use this year. Coming up in number 2, this is Spirit Kittens Oracle. This was released this year. However, the original deck, the original Spirit Cats deck, was released many years ago, and I had that deck and rehomed it in preference for this mini Spirit Kittens version because it has abridged explanations and these prompts at the end that can either be used to journal, to pull more cards on, to just sit and contemplate. And I really like a question deck, if you haven't noticed. And these beautiful, beautiful paintings, even with me not being a cat person, I can just appreciate them for their beauty. And this comes in a pack of 2, so there's plenty of cards between the Spirit Kittens and the Witch Kittens. I used this deck more often than not this year, so I had to include it in my top decks. And my number 1 Oracle deck this year, also released in 2025, is these Blue Bones Oracle. There's just something so different about this deck. It is liminal. It is poetic. It's melancholic. It's got elements of positivity and neutrality and negativity, and it's just so emotional and deep, and I've really, really enjoyed using it this year. There's something about the Eco Herbage cardstock that really lends itself to the energy of this deck, and I've used it for countless readings this year, and I've just really enjoyed getting to know it. I'm super grateful to Rose Bay for all of her creations, and I can't wait to see whatever else that she creates in the future. Now, if you made it this far into the video, here's my nail polish lineup. There's a lot going on here. So this is what's called a Skittle manicure. So there's 5 different colors. I've got 5 different cracked polishes. So my pinky nail is this ginger snapped color. My ring finger is Gherkin, which is a magnetic polish. If you look in the light, it does shift. My middle finger is Squashed. My pointer finger is Fermented, another magnetic polish. Hard to see, but it does shift a lot in person. And then my thumb is Sweeter the Juice. This is so much fun. It almost looks like that dried corn on the cob around Thanksgiving time. It's just so fun. And my scent of the day, I've definitely talked about this one before, Opal Vanilla. It's got notes of vanilla custard, ice cream, crystalline, vanilla pudding, vanilla liqueur, French vanilla bean, vanilla cream, just basically all of the vanilla goodness, and it smells like that. Super creamy and delicious. I think I've said before that it smells like Lip Smackers vanilla frosting, but all grown up, and I stand by that statement. I just love going to this when I need like a cozy winter Christmas cookie type smell. All right, so those were my top 10 decks of 2025. I know I took a couple liberties on the number, but these really were the decks that made the most impact on me in 2025, that I used the most, that came out this year and really stunned me, or that I brought into my collection this year and made a very big splash on their arrival. I feel very lucky and grateful that I've been able to experience these decks this year, and I wish you the same, that you get to have a practice that you glean so much from and enjoy as much as I do. I hope that you have a lovely holiday season and a good start to 2026. I just want to thank you for watching, liking the video, commenting, subscribing, all of those things that make me feel like a part of the community these days. I'm just very grateful for you, and I'm grateful to be here. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Signing out.